It is 7:30. Good morning. Here's a look at our top stories today. There is calm in Egypt this hour, one day after clashes between police and supporters of ousted President Mohamed Morsi. Egyptian health officials say 500 people are dead. Another 3,700 were injured when police moved in to clear two sit-in camps in Cairo. The violence prompted the military-backed interim leaders to impose a state of emergency and curfew, and interim Vice President Mohamed El-Baradei to resign. Today, the Egyptian Muslim Brotherhood says it will hold a march in Cairo to protest the deaths. Foreign Affairs Minister John Baird is urging both sides in the crisis to avoid violence. Joining us now live on the phone is Elliot Tepper, a Middle East specialist at Carleton University. Mr. Tepper, thanks so much for joining us today. How did Egypt go from being a country moving towards democracy just less than 2 years ago now to what seems to be a country on the brink of civil war?
There is a lot of blame to go around in this case, but the primary focus has always been on the mismanagement of the Morsi government once it got into power. It did get there by elections. It looked like a compromise had been reached with the military. That compromise with the military, which was basically the government would leave them alone to do their thing and vice versa, was violated when Mr. Morsi then, shortly thereafter, put forth a decree saying that all authority rested with him, and it went down the hill from there very sharply till we reached today's impasse.
Now, the Muslim Brotherhood is vowing a march today. Could this situation get much worse before we ever see it get better?
Yes, regretfully it could. The ferocity of this attack overnight could make everybody stand back and pause, but it doesn't look like that's happening. It could be that the military will be faced with the necessity of dealing with a revived and revitalized and much more violent Muslim Brotherhood protest.
Does this mean that a compromise then between the military and the Muslim Brotherhood is less likely in the near future?
The future is very hard to predict right now in Egypt. It's not going in the right direction, obviously, and the easiest thing to predict is that this will just deepen and intensify. The Muslim Brotherhood protests have spread to all the major cities in Egypt. Coptic churches have been attacked by Muslim Brotherhood supporters. So the prognosis immediately is likely, unfortunately, to be more violence.
Middle East specialist at Carleton University, Elliot Tepper, thanks so much for joining us this morning.
It's a sad day, I'm afraid, for Egypt's prospects.
Indeed. Thank you. Senators fans will hear from Daniel Alfredson today for the first time since he decided to leave Ottawa for Detroit. Alfredson will address the media at 11 a.m. at the Royal Ottawa Mental Health Centre. A media release says Alfredson will take the opportunity to say thank you to the community and bring further attention to mental health issues. You can listen to the media conference on radio station The Team 1200 or watch it on ctvottawa.ca. OC Transpo wants to name one of the 13 stations on the new light rail transit line in recognition of the area's Algonquin history. A report for the Transit Commission recommends naming the LeBreton Flats Transit Station as Pimisi. It's the Algonquin word for eel and is sacred to the people. Other name changes for the LRT line include the Downtown West Station named Lion and changing Campus Station to U-Ottawa. The report also includes the proposed paint job for the new trains, a modern version of the red and white color scheme on current OC Transpo buses. Well, job cuts in the federal civil service are being blamed for a drop in transit ridership in our city. 23.8 million people used OC Transpo in the spring, down 2.2% from the same time in 2012. But despite the drop in ridership, OC Transpo is projecting a balanced budget for the year. An Ottawa chiropractor believes texting is becoming a pain in the neck for teens. Dr. Kelly Norman is noticing a dramatic rise in neck pain among teenagers, even early signs of osteoarthritis. Dr. Norman says the cause may be hours of texting, with teens bent over their cell phones and changing the curve in their neck.
Sometimes we're seeing changes in the curves of the necks of these children and teenagers, and that can be a direct result of all of this looking down all the time at these devices such as smartphones and tablets.
Dr. Norman has tips to prevent damage from texting, limiting time texting friends, and bring your cell phone up to eye level.